Season 2, Episode 4, Coffee with Coach. We got a lot to talk about, Coach, but first things first, it's getting wild out there.
And in football or just life in general?
I was in Walmart, Coach, and somebody recognized me.
Oh, really?
I was standing in the aisle picking out my Drano, and this guy was staring at me in a funny way. I know you're used to this.
No.
He was kind of looking at me, and finally he said, "You're that Edgewater guy." And I said, "Yeah, I teach at Edgewater." He goes, "No, you're the coffee guy." And I said, "Oh my God, I just got recognized for the first time ever."
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm going in disguise, Coach Duke's used to this kind of stuff, but I got to put my regular glasses on or I won't be able to see. All right, got my Dodgers hat on. Okay, Coach, we're ready here for Season 3 recap. Week 3 recap. I'm gonna wear a hat today like Coach Duke. I like my red.
But I have the visor just in case. I need to change it up. Haven't done it yet.
The visor comes out. I think we need it. We need a change. We need something to get these boys going. Okay, so Week 3 recap. We're locked in. We're ready to go West Orange. But man, it's a little hot in here. I'm gonna take this sweater off.
Golly.
I have the.
By the way, I never have an idea of what's going to take place, just so you know at home that
I told you I was working on some new merchandise. Now, love is unconditional. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Coach, because this is a Week 3 recap. The Twitter feeds blew up. The earth almost split apart again. There was almost like the rapture. I don't know what happened because apparently at the end of the first half, you made one bad play call. Because I think I got 13 messages and 46 emails about a hitch route. I don't even know what a hitch route is. But I decided that I wanted to show unconditional love and support for Coach Duke no matter what he calls. Okay?
Well, I probably made more than just one. I made quite a few. But I know which one you're talking about. But, at the end of the day, I think this past Friday's game, it was a really good win against a top 10 team in the state. People sometimes take winning for granted. And I tell our staff all the time and our players, winning is hard. That was a good team with a lot of collegiate prospects on their roster and a good, hungry West Orange group that I thought I knew was going to be a challenge. And, I was really pleased that we came out with a win, 27-14, to move to 3-0. But, yes, there was a call. We were up 17-0 going into half. We had a little bit of time left coming out of our own end zone, and we decided to throw the football. Anytime there's a bad deal in a game, it will always fall on my shoulders. I tell our guys that all the time. I'm okay with that. I heard from plenty of people what we were doing, what we were thinking. It was an aggressive mindset, and if I could take it back, we would have done something different, no doubt, to give them, a touchdown right before half to make it 17-7, put them back in the ball game. But we responded well coming out of halftime and found a way to get the win, so I'm really proud of our guys. But, yeah, we self-reflect all the time. Trust me, I self-reflect on things that we do well, but also really I spend more time on things that we didn't do so well. And again, when we make bad decisions, it'll always follow me. I'm okay with that. God's given me thick enough skin to be able to deal with that. I heard from plenty of people about that, including family members. So,
wow. I heard that.
But you know what? Our team and program has got a really good win, and we're excited about this next challenge. We get a chance to see Jones Tigers Friday night.
Friday night, Jones Tigers. Look at this now. If you would like some custom merchandise or you have any questions for Coach Duke, you can feel free to email me. This is a 2XL, 2X. So if anybody would like this shirt, I'd be happy to pass it on. I think it's a beautiful shirt. I was going to get some more like quantity, but I decided just to go with the first one like this. I'm going to have some more for you, though. Don't worry. Okay? So I'm not going to talk much about Tom Cruise. I figure we wrung that sponge out. But
I got to see his new movie, though. I got to see the new Mission Impossible. I haven't seen it yet. It got really good reviews.
I got a Mission Impossible quote. Throw the switch on and off. Don't forget the off.
Sometimes I need to turn it off.
Turn the coach is so loud. I saw him at practice yesterday. How do you not lose your voice? I'm
a little scratchy today. We've had a couple of good, tough practices this week, and It's close right now.
It was emotional. It was very tough, and that's what we need. Jones week is a big week. So let's hit it off. Let's do it. Let's spotlight. Who are we gonna spotlight this week, Coach? Anybody you want to talk about? Any players? Any guys out there really showing out?
I mean, I think you could spotlight our entire defense right now. You know, we have a lot of seniors on that team that are playing a lot of reps. So if I would spotlight, you know, you think about our two corners that are seniors, Kylan Meadows and Kai Bates. You think about our two starting linebackers in Damon Troutman and Solomon Tripline. You talk about our starting nickel, Trey Harris, number 6, really good player for us. In the defensive line, you know, you have number 3, Mylan Bowen. You got number 33, Cornelius Bass. You got number 5, Josh Alexander Felton. Those are all seniors, and then there's a bunch of others that are playing too on that defensive side. But those are all seniors that are playing for us on the defense side of the ball. They're playing really good. They had another. We scored again on defense last week with Mylan Bowen with a big sack, forced fumble that landed in the hands of number 44, Aiden Anderson, that took it to the house. So our defense has had multiple weeks where they've scored. That's huge. So I'd like to spotlight our defense and really our defensive seniors on that side of the ball. And then, of course, our defensive staff. Kyle Joyce has been our defensive coordinator for 7 years. E.J. Dunston, D-line coach. Jermaine T.Art, D-line coach. Coach Tommy Whitted, linebacker coach. Coach Dane Hollahan, secondary coach. Coach Brad Staten works in the secondary. You know, I think about our defensive coaches and senior-led defensive players that are playing at a very high level right now. And when you have that on the defense side of the ball, you got a shot to be successful.
The D's got a vibe. You know, they're like, those coaches have a different vibe than the O coaches. I imagine the radio conversations, the headsets are different. I imagine the D, I mean, you got Coach E.J. Dunston, and, you know, when Coach Herm moved to the D side of the ball for a while, and you got Coach Hollahan. There's some cool cats there.
There
Coach
are.
Joyce, and then the other side, I think you got some firecrackers.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing, you know, we all work together, and, you know, we want, it's not offense and defense, it's one team, one family. But yeah, we definitely have a staff that works more on the defense side and offense side. And then we also always try to, you know, sharpen one another in practice and bounce ideas off each other about, you know, what gives them fits, what gives them problems, and try to brainstorm together to make it the best product as we can on Friday. But the defense staff does a great job, and yeah, there are some characters, and the offense has got some unbelievable coaches that got a little fire to them as well.
I got one more question about West Orange. What was the pregame meal?
We had Chick-fil-A. So we had Chick-fil-A provided by Lisa Anderton and her Bible study group. So we're very grateful.
That makes sense.
Very grateful for them. But yeah, we had Chick-fil-A, which is always it's always a hit for our guys.
That makes very good sense, because what happened was, me and Coach were very superstitious, routine. We do the same thing. It's very similar, right? So when the game just is about to kick off, Mr. Lisher, I sneak in to Building 12, and I know where the extras are of the pregame meal, and I always go in there and grab myself a little something and go out for the game, you know. And that week I went in there last Friday. There was nothing left.
Nothing, gone.
It was empty. Some potato chips. That's it. And a few oranges. I was like, what did these boys eat? So it's Chick-fil-A. Makes sense. Chick-fil-A.
I think sometimes our coaches get there a little bit later on too, and they'll
do they? Yeah, they jump in there. That's good. But I'm being honest with you, because we like to be honest. All right, so. We're going to move on to Jones, Coach. Jones is a huge game. This is like a gauntlet right now. The first 6 games of this season are unbelievably difficult. We're on week 4 out of 6. I mean, I think next week is a Popka, and the following week is a Wekiva, I'm sorry. So it should be a very tough challenge for the boys. So what do we come to expect out of Jones High School?
You know, it's a program that we've been playing since 19, played them every year. Last 6 games, I think it's 3-3. You know, it's a program we have the utmost respect for. Coach Elijah Williams does an incredible job over there. Very talented team. You know, for the longest time we would play them. They weren't in our district. Since last year, they're now in our district. So it's a district game, which even makes it that much more important as far as making the playoffs. But it's an opponent that, man, we have so much respect for. We've had great games with them. You know, we have to prepare really well. I told our team, you know, we called it the 4 T's. Well, number one, we had to make sure all week that we put our focus, really our emotion and energy. There's a lot of emotion in this game, that we make sure we focus on execution and doing exactly what we're supposed to do each and every play and focus on the little details. Don't let your emotions take over where you get yourself out of the zone on understanding what your job is each and every play. The team that is the most disciplined will win Friday night. And then the other thing that we've talked about are the 4 T's that have been really important. We talk about teams, special teams. In games like this, you have to win in the special teams. We call them the teams or special teams. We got to win in the kicking game. Tackle. You got to tackle really well against Jones. They have a lot of great athletes that are really good in space, so we got to be really good tacklers this week on defense. And then also, we have to be able to break tackles on offense and win one-on-one matchups. Turnovers, the 3rd T. We got to make sure we win the turnover battle. We got to protect the football on offense, and we got to go find a way to get it on defense. Whoever wins the turnover battle more than likely will win the game. And the last one is we got to be together. We have to play together completely. All 11 on the field and the guys on the sideline, we got to be together at all times when you play a great opponent like Jones. So we feel like we've been working it all week, and we look forward to the opportunity to be able to put that into practice this week.
4 T's. I like that, 4 T's. That's pretty good. Jones is a real close opponent, and the game's different. Thursday night's a different thing. And I have a student, and he says that this year's y'all's year with Jones, Coach. He said, "Now Edgewater's going to win this year." He's new to us. He came from College Park Middle School. He's actually got a brother that plays some football, and he said, "Nope, Edgewater's going to win this year." So I'm going to go with my man Jaheim, and I'm going to say that Edgewater wins because, well, we're always winners, right?
We hope so.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's do some number 1 fan questions and lighten this up a little bit. It's also going to, lead us to a little Tom Cruise quote in Rain Man. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse, okay? This is a good one. If in a given year, would you rather beat Boone in the Battle of the Barrel or Jones in a playoff game?
That's a great question. That Boone game means a lot. That barrel keeping it where it needs to be here at Edgewater is really important. But I'd say right now I'd rather be able to. We lost to Jones in the playoffs last year in the 3rd round. They did a great job. Hats off to them. And I didn't feel like we played it at our best level. So I think right now, just with the taste that's in my mouth, would be to beat Jones in the playoffs. Now, if you ask me week 11 when we're playing Boone, it might be a different answer. But week 4 right now, beat Jones.
I like it. I told you, this year's going to be a playoff team. Once you guys catch a spark, it's going to be something crazy. What's changed with tackling, Coach? X's and O's. Like, why? I don't think, guys, they don't wrap up anymore. Like, I was watching the Buccaneers this Sunday. I watched just a little bit of football on the weekends, and there was a linebacker, like 10 years in the NFL, and man, he was a tackle machine. He had a first name for a last name, like David or I don't know his name, James or something like that. But he was wrapping people up and he was tackling people. And I feel like right now nobody wraps up anymore on the defensive side of the ball. Is there been a change?
Well, I think
I'll tell you one more thing. That boy sure did not wrap up on our number 4 on Friday night at the end of half, because our little number 4, I don't know who he is, but Christian Henderson. He was like for real C4. He blew that kid up. I haven't seen a running back hit somebody like that in a long time. It was a number 1. It was exceptional.
Well, I think tackling is a skill. You got to practice it. You got to work on it. I think, every coach wants to keep players safe and protect them. So there's not as many tackling drills in practice due to state laws and due to rules and regulations than due to trying to keep players safe, which I'm all for. But you got to practice it. The other thing is everybody is sometimes wants that social media post of the big hit, or the highlight hit. I told our guys, we don't care about that. It's about getting the other guy on the ground, and understanding strike zone tackling, right? That's from your chest to your knees, and wrapping up and drive for 5, and make sure, you're grabbing cloth, and there's different types of tackles, hawk rolls. Again, there's a lot of different ways, but the end of the day, it's about getting the opponent on the ground. So a big hit without wrapping up, a lot of times the guy bounces off and keeps going. So it's a skill that's got to be practiced, that's got to be worked on, and it's got to be done daily. We were hoping to continue to improve and be better tacklers this week than we were last week. But you do see it at all levels. I think there's a lot of different reasons for it. But you got to really teach the skill. It's a skill that can be developed. It's an art, getting them on the ground. Yes, the big hit everybody likes, but it doesn't matter if that guy is still running, right? So it's one of those things we got to continue to practice and work on, and hope that we're a better tackling team this week.
Hopefully. This is going around right now. Sorry about my little cough. So, next question. If Campbell or Collins came home from daycare and said they wanted a tattoo, what would your response be?
Colin, my youngest, cannot speak. She's at 6 months, or she just babbles. My oldest,
well, it's hypothetical,
is 2 and does speak, and I can see her actually asking something like that.
Really?
I'd say once she turned 18, we could go get one together. I got an idea for my next one as well. So
you do?
I do, but I'd have to say we're gonna wait till she's 18 and we'll go do it together.
Okay, I won't put a little time out in that conversation, because I'm telling you, we do not talk about these things. I only get tattoos with friends for memories. That's my rule with tattoos, and my wife approves all of them. All right, Coach's crystal ball. Last week, Coach, you did Colorado, Nebraska. You took Colorado. Texas A&M, Miami. We were wrong. It was in Miami. And Miami won. You picked Texas A&M, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then the big upset, you picked Texas over Alabama with our old number 4, C.J. Baxter, getting some carries and some catches and looking pretty good. This week I got 3 new ones for you. Tennessee, Florida.
It's in Gainesville, and I think it's a night game, and the Swamp's a tough place to play. But I watched their game against Utah, and I know they've probably gotten better since then. They had to have. But I think
I saw that little
Tennessee, I think Coach Heupel and his group, Joe Milton's their quarterback. We actually coached against Joe Milton my first year here at Edgewater in 2017 when he was at Olympia. Edgewater won. But he's a talented quarterback, there's no doubt. They got Mackenzie Milton working with their staff up in Tennessee as well. Big fan of Mackenzie Milton. He's been great to our program and worked with a lot of our players in the past. I'm taking Tennessee over Florida in the Swamp in a dominant win.
Okay. Dominant win in the Swamp. Man, that's Tom Petty worthy. All right. East Carolina versus Appalachian State.
App State almost had the big upset at Carolina. I think it went into overtime. Did it go? Oh, it was right there. I don't know if it went into overtime, but it was a great game. App State's one of those programs, man, a lot of pride in Boone, North Carolina. But we got Eric Doctor, who plays at East Carolina. App State's a prideful program, but we got our alumni. Eric Doctor was a great safety for us. Took us to a state championship game his senior year in 2019. He's playing outside linebacker, defensive end for East Carolina. I'm taking the Pirates, ECU, over App State.
Wow, good one. All right, last one. Georgia Tech versus Ole Miss.
Where is that game?
I wrote it down in that order, so I figure it's at Ole Miss because it's second.
Yeah. We have alumni starting receiver at Georgia Tech and Christian Leary, who was an incredible player for us and a great young man. Ole Miss was in a battle with Tulane this past week.
Really?
It was an incredible game.
Wow.
I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go because I thought Georgia Tech played Louisville really good week 1. They could have won the game. I'm going to go with that's probably the upset is Georgia Tech, and I'm picking from the heart here because of the number 6 for Georgia Tech. Also, Cole Lappin is the Georgia Tech. He's at a Georgia Tech student, was a great player here at Edgewater. He's in the engineering program at Georgia Tech. His family, Mr. and Miss Appin, are incredible people to our program, and I know they're Georgia Tech diehard fans and alumni. So we have players there as students and as football players in Georgia Tech with the upset over Ole Miss.
All right. The alumni is getting pretty strong, coaches. Every week we're talking about alumni. I like this. We need more of them helicopters flying in. All right. 60 seconds of mentorship, positivity, the power of positivity.
So positivity is a mindset, and I think positivity comes from focusing on things that are good. Philippians 4:8 talks about that, and that's actually would be my next tattoo, and that's a whole nother thing. But having the right mindset, focusing your mind on that which is good, in a world where everybody wants to focus on that, which is bad. You never want to bury your head in the sand, but I do think having a positive mindset is a decision that you can make day in and day out. I know for myself, my mindset is positive when my perspective in life is right, when my order of faith and my family comes before everything else. My mind is much more positive than when things get out of whack in my own life. I want to make sure our guys are always have a positive mindset, as far as hoping that they understand that they're so much more than just a football player. It's something they do. It's not who they are. But with that, we want their minds to always remain positive. And I think that's a decision that you can make daily. I know I have to make it daily. And for me, my positive mindset comes from making sure my priorities are in order and my perspective in life is right.
Okay, I like it, Coach. All right, we're going to stick with this theme because this tattoo theme. All right, and some of them are going to be $1 million questions. Some of them are going to be you have to make a choice and pick somebody. Okay.
Okay.
So for $1 million, would you get your #1 fan's portrait tattoo on your forearm?
For $1 million?
$1 million.
No taxes taken out?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. For $1 million, would you get 32804 tattooed on your neck?
100%.
Okay. If you had to have one former player, alumni portrait tattooed on your heart, who would you get?
Man, that's a tough question.
I know.
I mean, there's been so many that have been just incredible people into our program.
All right, well, ponder it. If you had to get a famous person's tattoo on your forearm, who would you get?
A famous person?
Anybody famous.
A portrait of their face.
Can't say Jesus Christ. Has to be alive.
There was this great coach up in Tallahassee by the name of Bobby Bowden.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, that's...
We're going to review that book later in the season. Spoiler alert.
Nice.
Coach Duke gave me a present of the Bobby Bowden Dynasty book, and we're going to test him on his knowledge of FSU football and Bobby Bowden. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned. This week we had 130 viewers, Coach.
All right.
130 viewers. All right, for $1 million, would you live in a tent in Maine for 365 days?
Do I have my family?
Sure.
Or am I by myself?
You don't have to be by yourself.
If I have my family, yeah.
Did you know a man lived in Maine in the woods for 28 years, I believe was the number, and never spoke to another human except one time?
No, I did not know that.
He was like a ghost.
Yeah, that sounds like...
He stole from people's cabins, and he lived in between rocks and created in the winter, and he never lit a fire. And they could never find him. It took, I think, 30 years for them to find him. Yeah, I got a book about it. It's a good book. Would you walk to California for $1 million?
Can people go with me?
Just me.
Just you?
Just me.
You and I it'd be a long time without... I had to say no on that one. Sorry.
That's his first no.
Sorry.
That's his first no. Okay. Would you box Mike Tyson for $1 million?
In his prime or now?
Either.
Oh, I need to know. That's a big difference.
Okay, now.
Now, yes. In his prime, no.
Okay. Would you roll the length of a football field 500 times with Coach Jameson encouraging you for $1 million?
Yes, absolutely.
500 yards of rolling. That's a lot of rolling.
I think we've had some former alumni that have been in the 4 digits.
Wow. That's a lot.
There was an offensive lineman named Dave Anderton who I think...
Oh, man. He rolled that much. Jeez, so Pete.
Great.
All right, well, that about wraps it up. Remember, if you need some merchandise, you hit me up, kyle.lesher@ocps.net. You got questions, you hit me up, kyle.lesher@ocps.net. I'm going to put some NASCAR up here next week because I need more questions. I need more help. Jones Tigers, Edgewater Eagles.
Thursday night.
Thursday night. That's right. Different. 7 p.m. tonight. All right. We do it, Coach.
We need it rocking tonight. This is a big one. So come out. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you to Mr. Lesher and everything he does for our school, community, and football program. Eagle.
Pride.